What's going on, guys? I am Kevin Miller, and welcome back to Cinephellas. And today I am going to talk about a film from a director of a bunch of Netflix shows. Personally, I loved Midnight Mass out of all that stuff. It was Midnight Mass, The Haunting of Hill House. We have Mike Flanagan doing a film, and he is adapting a short story by Stephen King from the novel If It Bleeds, and that specific story is The Life of Chuck. This isn't the first foray into Stephen King land for him. He did the 2019 Doctor Sleep. Before we talk about this film further, we are going to take a look at a clip from the film.
You fill the whole thing. It'll be a universe. Isn't that wonderful?
All right, so I never read this one. I've read some of Stephen King's novels, but I never read this novel or specifically this short story. And I'm going to say off the bat that I'm going to criticize this movie, but it's not really a bad film. It's just one that really didn't work for me. Flanagan follows the structure of the novel, which tells the story of Chuck, played by Tom Hiddleston, and we get to see his life, but we move backwards. We see the end of his life, and then we see the beginning, or like maybe when he's like 7 or 8 years old, but he's younger, and that's where we end up. I won't go into extreme details because there are certain things that you really shouldn't know walking into this film, and it will make it a lot better experience. But I will say that the last part of the movie, which is about Chuck as a child, and you see a lot of what influences him to make a decision that happens in the second half of the three-part story. Yeah, you get to see a lot of that there. And let me tell you something, Tom Hiddleston, man, he is fantastic, but calling him the star of this movie is a huge understatement. I That's all I'll say about that. Take that as you will. I thought this movie was kind of disjointed a little bit. I know what Flanagan was trying to do, and I know people, including someone who I saw with, they thought he did a great job. It didn't work for me. Every time that I felt connected to the character, there were abrupt shifts in the narrative. And also, listen, I love Nick Offerman. He has a great voice, and Flanagan uses him here as kind of like a narrator. I I didn't like it. I did not like it. It took me out of the movie a bunch of times. And even though he was reading these lines very, beautifully, just the way they were written and where they were inserted within the story, specifically in the second part of the film where Hiddleston really shines, it kind of kept taking me out. I'm like, well, I don't like what this is doing. As I said, Hiddleston is fantastic, but don't go if you're just seeing this for Hiddleston. That's all I'll say about that. The intro part of this movie stars Karen Gillan and Chiwetel Ejiofor. Yes, I can say that name. I know a lot of people can't. I found that pretty dull, and I did not like that Flanagan started like that because I have a high tolerance to sitting there and letting things develop, but I don't think a lot of people will share that. And it's like half hour, 40 minutes the first part, and he definitely tests your patience. But once you get past that, you get to this part of the movie, which I keep referencing, and that is a fantastic part. But you know, even with the performances from Gillian and Ejiofor, it's just the beginning is so dull. I was like, oh my god, this movie won the audience award last year at the Toronto International Film Festival, and over the last like 10 years, that movie goes along to win Best Picture at the Oscars, the following year, or at least it gets in a nomination. And this movie wasn't up for the 2024 Oscar. It wasn't even in the conversation, and I don't really blame it because it's a good movie. It's well made. It looks nice, and Flanagan knows what he's doing with that all that stuff. But I couldn't connect with it, and it has a lot of pseudo intellectual viewpoints on life, and the subtlety of some of those scenes is like a sledgehammer. It doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. But I will give credit where credit's due because, as I said, I don't want to I want you guys thinking I'm shitting on this thing, but the last part of the movie is where the movie shines. Outside of this, you're not gonna beat the charisma of Tom Hiddleston, but if you're looking for a little more narrative, a little more development, the last part will connect with you. And the actor who plays the young Chuck is Ben Pajak, and I thought he was fantastic. The kid can dance, the kid can act, the kid can emote, proper emotion wherever scene he's in, and his chemistry with Mark Hamill, who plays his grandfather, fantastic. And Mark Hamill, yeah, he's very good here, and he has a great little dialogue about the importance of math and how math is everywhere. And I'm not a math guy, I'm an English teacher, and I don't really like it. I don't like math, but this dialogue and this speech and the way that Hamill basically performed it was incredible. It was excellent. It was what the movie needed. It was the emotional depth I had been waiting for over an hour, and he does a great job. The mystery of the movie, I guess maybe if you don't watch movies a lot, you may not know what the ending's gonna be. But if you know Stephen King and you watch Stephen King movies, it's very easy to figure out what the last shot is, and that shot does happen. And I just thought it abruptly ended, and that was it. Horror fans, we got Heather Langenkamp in this movie, Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. She's in this scene. It was great to see her. Ferris Bueller Day Off people, we got Mia Sauer, who played Sloane in that movie. She's here. She's very good. She plays Mark Hamill's wife, and she and Chuck have a very strong relationship, and their actions and her love influences the second part of the film. And it's nice to see her too. She still has it. She's still pretty for an older woman, and I thought the warmth that she projected was very convincing for young Chuck. Yeah, so basically, I'm gonna give this one 2.5 out of 5. I wouldn't be surprised if the guys at the website or you guys would basically disagree with me. I don't hate this film. I don't. It's not a bad film. It's not terrible like some of the stuff that I've watched for Seven with Kevin. Stay tuned for that. It's been a bad streak. But I liked this movie, but it just didn't work for me totally. There are really positive things that happen every so often across, like, I think it's an hour and 45 minutes, but not enough to justify that runtime. I feel maybe when I watch it again, maybe down the road, maybe I'll connect with it a little more. Maybe I'll forgive the flaws. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a follow-up review. But anyway, yeah, so that's the word. 2.5 out of 5 hair pieces for the life of Chuck. Again, I definitely go out and support this movie. I love Flanagan. I hope he gets to make the Dark Tower series. And, seeing this guy in anything, Marvel, this kind of stuff, anything, he's a joy to watch. He's a pleasure. So is the rest of the cast. But, did you disagree with me? Or do you agree with me? Are you one of these people who are not understanding when maybe you're missing something? Let me know. Let us know at the website, cinephellas.com. We're on X, Facebook, Instagram, or on YouTube. I had poison ivy. That's why maybe, I was away for a while. But, I'm ready to go. I'm back. And again, guys, I enjoy talking to you about this stuff, keeping you in the loop with everything having to do with film, TV, and video games. And yep, that's it. And as we say on this website, I am Kevin Muller, and cheers.